Do not be in a hurry.
Tonight, how those in our state are helping with Florida's recovery, plus the journey home.
Well, tonight, at least a dozen people are confirmed dead after that monstrous storm, Hurricane Milton, slammed into Florida.
It has been nearly 24 hours since Milton made landfall as a Category 3 hurricane. The storm hitting just 13 days after Helene ravaged the state. You're looking at new video right now just coming into our newsroom with the power of Milton as it hit Sarasota, Florida last night. And right now, FEMA is on the ground assessing the extensive damage. Tonight, we have team coverage both from Florida and here in Georgia as evacuees in our state consider their next steps. But we want to begin tonight with NBC's Jay Gray live for us in Fort Myers Beach.
Yeah, and look, this is our first look at an area that was really hit hard at initial landfall. This was one of the strike points, about 80 miles south, so on the dirty side of this storm from landfall. You can see what it did to the resort here, ripped it apart. I mean, ripped through the fence, pulled up trees, scattered tables and chairs. And this is a long beach, so it had a long way to go, and it didn't stop here. It continued to push in onto the roadway here, sand covering everything, so it carried sand with it, and debris is scattered across this barrier island. It's the same picture for miles and miles across the state, really, right now. We know millions still without power at this point. You talked about the tornadoes. They have done severe damage as well. Here, they've started allowing people to come back in, and not a ton have. Fortunately, a lot of people evacuated from this area and are waiting, as you talked about earlier, to move in this way. But what they're going to find is not damage as severe as Ian 2 years ago, which really ravaged this island and the entire region, but still enough damage that it has made a difference in a place, in an area that is so tired, so fatigued, so frustrated, with just storm after storm after storm. 6 named storms in the last 7 years across Florida.
Our heart goes out to them, Jay. You know, the big relief tonight is the storm surge. We know that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says that it wasn't as bad as it could have been, right?
Nearly as bad as some of the forecasts indicated. It did still cause some problems, though, Ron. I can tell you, I went in about 4 blocks away from the beach here, and this is a community with canals going out to the bay as well. But there was 2 feet in some areas, the watermark on some of the homes here, so it did push in, but not nearly to the level that had been feared across the initial strike zone. We're still seeing some storm surge on the eastern side of the peninsula as well. So this was a massive system, and it definitely left a mark.
All right, Jay, great for us tonight, sir. We really appreciate that coverage. By the way, the coverage of Milton's impact.
Let me show you why I stopped paying for all my other sample libraries. This is Arcade by Output. This thing has sounds, samples, instruments, effects, everything you could ever need all in one place. I remember a friend of mine sent me a link one day to try it. From the moment I opened it up, I was like, oh, this is a game changer. And now I'm the one telling everybody about it. The sample quality is crazy, and you can literally customize everything. You could pitch it up, pitch it down, chop it, extend it, modulate it. Sometimes I like to just bring in my own samples and hit them with this lo-fi. Okay. The variety and the versatility of the kits is just crazy. We could go from something like this to something like this. I feel like whether you're just getting started in music production or whether you're Grammy nominated, there's something in here for you. So if you're looking for a unique way to redefine your sound and just kind of add more dynamics to your composition, you got.
Turn that off.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, you look like you've. What did you experience when the storm hit?
Well, I was cooking, and next thing you know, we heard a whoo. So my brother said, "Yo, get down, get down, get down, get down." So as we got down, glass was coming up like it was shooting AK-47. You know what I'm saying? But we're glad to be alive. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Glad to be alive.
Well, you go attend to your home. Did you witness these cars get?
That's my mama car right there.
That is your mother's car?
That's my mama car. And as you can look over here.
Are these power lines?
Yeah, you good.
Okay.
As you can look over here, that's my sister car.
Oh my gosh, okay.
That's my brother's truck.
Every one of them is damaged.
Yeah, every vehicle is damaged over here. Even my vehicle on the other side is damaged.
So did you see the tornado coming through, or were you taking shelter?
Like I said, I was inside cooking.
Yeah.
And after it hit my cousin church, blew the roof off my cousin church.
Yes.
It came, it had to be like 10, 15 minutes. It flipped back around. And it came and damaged it, did its damage, it did what it did.
Can you even begin to process?
No, I can't process this.
No.
I can't process, what I mean? I'm gonna be here trying to get it back right.
Can you tell me about what you were doing, what was happening, what you heard?
So I had just gotten home from work. I work for Teleperformance, and just want to say Teleperformance has been amazing to me because they're all reaching out to me. I was about to walk onto that back porch, and my husband pulled me out and said, "There's a tornado coming," and he threw me on the couch, and it just came. But the only thing I saw was like just white all around us, and just you could feel like the suction of
We've destroyed an enemy cruiser.
That sounds like some sort of storm, but it's not. It's actually a commercial.
of the tornado.
Yeah.
I'm really scared.
When you came out, what did you first witness? Did you witness some of the damage, some of the concrete and the styrofoam that we're seeing around us
That's
here?
what I see. I cannot believe the concrete and all the gutters and the concrete all over the place. Look at the house, the roof of the house is gone, it's over there.
That's a good point. I don't know if Ed can get a shot of the houses over there, but some of the roofs have been damaged over there as well. You can see the fences are damaged. People are just getting to work here. They're
Brand new fence right there.
Brand new fence.
Like a couple months.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
This is your brother's house?
Yeah, he's renting that out, but it belongs to him.
Okay.
All of this is relatives. We're all relatives on here. And to see all this, it don't think it can't happen to you. It sounds like just a little rough wind coming through. Then after a while, it sounded like a freight train.
That's what a lot of people say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really did. And then the next thing, my son said, "Get up, let's get up." And we got inside. And next thing we heard all this rumbling. It took 10 roof off that was on the house, all the way from this street, all the way over on my lot there, to the car. It looked like somebody took that tin and just sat it down with like when you try to nail tin together.
Yeah.
It picked up everything and nailed
Everything
them.
just looks like a toy.
Yeah.
These heavy objects just whipped around.
That's right, like a play toy. Kids, you guys out there playing around. It's unbelievable.
And the street you can see right over there, Ed, is completely blocked by
all
trees.
that trees.
What?
You can't get by.
Yeah.
That's all trees. This will never be the same. In that church, the whole roof is off that church. And the saddest thing about it, and I can't get to it, I have a niece and nephew whose house, it looked like a Somebody dropped a bomb on the house. It's completely like it was in the line of a war zone.
What did you experience? I know you live a couple of roads over, but there are some houses on this street that are just completely decimated. What did you hear? What did you experience?
A lot of rain and loud winds, and just basically you go into almost panic mode, and you look for the safest place in your house and just hope that your house doesn't get destroyed within a matter of seconds, because we were getting alerts on our phones every 5 minutes to seek shelter. And
and of course the young ones, they always have phones on them. How scary of an experience was that for you guys? I mean, you see what this has done to your neighborhood.
Me and my dad were driving in the front neighborhood. We saw the tornado go by, so...
You saw the tornado?
Yeah, it was kind of scary.
Have you ever seen a tornado before?
No, sir.
How big was it? Did you see the destruction, or did you just look at it and run the other way?
There were some roofs and trees and all that.
About 5 o'clock or maybe 4:45 yesterday, we had a tornado warning. And I got my kids, my husband, and my dogs, and we went in our safe room. We actually had a friend over, which was maybe not the smartest thing to do. And went into our safe room, didn't hear a thing, but then we lost power, had no internet. So I went outside and I started seeing all these ambulances go by my house. I don't even live in this neighborhood, but since we lost power, we thought it'd be smart to come over here. And then we saw all the cop cars right through this area, because they live on the street. Last night it was so scary. I felt like I was in an airplane with all the wind. It almost shook the house. So I didn't get much sleep last night.
Hey everybody. Look, Otter is one of my absolute favorite new platforms to leverage to make myself it.
You know, hurricanes and you know, extreme weather and stuff like that, especially when there's a forecast. A forecast is to know something beforehand. And when you know that there's going to actually be flooding, high winds, and you know there's going to be destruction, and you are forewarned about that. Now, that is something that you know is biblical about preparedness. When you go back to Noah, you know, Noah was forewarned about
Efficient as possible.
The
when it comes to selling. I mean,
the flood, the impending danger that was coming. Impending danger that was coming, so he had to be prepared for it. And that was the grace of God that was extended to Noah because of that forewarning. So when we don't take heed to the instructions to get prepared and to make haste and to move, and it's coming, do not look back, as with Lot's wife. Lot's wife in the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah, when she looked back, she turned into a pillar of salt. So these are things that we have to pray for. You know, we say we pray for, you know, the victims of the hurricane, and we want, you know, and that's you know, that's expected. It's expected for, you know, those people to pray for them. But sometimes our prayers become in vain when it's just, you know, hearing about something that's troubling, and then we seek to offer prayer. That's something that we can do, but one thing that we are told is to bear the burdens of each other. We should bear each other's burdens, and we would understand that in this is what Christ said about bearing each other's burdens. That means, after I give you the verse for it, chapter 6, verse 2. Bear one another's burdens so you fulfill the law of Christ, which is the word burden can refer to many things, including sin. You bear each other's sins. You bear each other's responsibilities, significant weights, toilsome work, accidents, illness, death, relational pressures and difficulties, works and financial weights. And that is something that can be attributed to what a burden is. You know, our sins, we bear each other's sins. We bear each other's responsibilities. Toilsome works, accidents, illness, death. We bear that. We bear that for each other. And so you will be fulfilling the law of Christ. And what I wanted to say is that, you know, we have an obligation, you know, to do that. And while there's, you know, many people that's experiencing this hurricane and any kind of natural disaster, because that's what they become, natural disasters. And when it's a natural disaster, that's a will of God, because it's something that is going to take place. And in the beginning of the news, you heard the news reporter state that, you know, this is a repeated thing. This is something that happens, you know, 7 consecutive years. So being that we know that this is something that these areas are prone to, and we haven't come up with a solution to have better evacuations, better housing for them, like in place, like after, you know, your house will be impacted, we should have something set up to where it's no problem for them to make haste and be forewarned about the impeding storm, and then, you know, already have something established. It's like in Alaska. Alaska has this payment that they give their residents, you know, just for living in Alaska. And, you know, Florida, because it's prone to that type of those type of events, big hurricanes and, you know, flooding and stuff like that. They should have something set up in place for them where, you know, that exceeds home insurance, that exceeds that, but it's something that's a humanitarian thing. It's in a humanitarian set up for any type of event that just happens out of the blue. And this is what we should pray for. We should pray that, you know, our hearts are changed, that we have a change of heart. Because while there was some people going through a crisis, there's others that was in celebratory. They were celebrating, you know, the Mets game. They were celebrating all sorts of events throughout the course of the world, while there's their counterparts, their other human counterparts that was going through or experiencing hardship. This is the reason why we don't feel the severity of certain events, but we do like to look at the aftermath and then grieve with the aftermath and then pray for them in the aftermath. And you should never pray about the past, because that is something that is already done. And the will of God is preparedness. You should pray for God's will to be done. If these people are forewarned but they don't take heed, then they are going against the will of God. If these people are already struck with something, you pray that you have the strength to pick up their burden, to be of some assistance to them. If you do not have it within you, then what's going on, dog? If you do not have it within you to aid and assist them, then you find the courage within you, and you will want to pray for those that have the resources to share those resources. You would pray that their hearts be touched, and that will go into Isaiah. I believe that you pray for, a change of heart. That's going to be Ezekiel. See, I was reading that earlier, and it said, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. I will place my spirit within you and cause you to follow my statutes and carefully observe my ordinance. So we have, whether we know it or not, we have a hardened heart, towards certain things that we should have a heart of flesh, that we should feel and be more responsive to. We are less responsive to it, and then just, offer vain prayer. I'm gonna pray for them. Oh, pray for those people and pray for. Sometimes the people are the prayer that people are praying for, and if we are not acting in accordance to or being obedient to bearing the burdens of others, then we won't have that prayer being answered. So when we bear the burdens of others, we take on their responsibilities, we take on their accidents, we take on everything that, that is in our power to take on. And that we have to be mindful of, because like I said, there was, the Mets game going on, and, people celebrating while there's people that's, frightened, and they're being they're having all of their property destroyed. And one thing that is going to happen is, they're going to have to repair and restore certain things. So I want to know, to what extent is the media that has the coverage going to be of aid to these people? Because there's many people from all over watching the news to see the extent of the damage and to hear about all of the survivors and, their stories, their testimony of what actually transpired. We want to know how much support is the media, that when there's these national crises or national things that go on, they tend to make a profit from it because they get paid by the viewers. And being that, this is something that has been going on for ages, and you're not making any kind of assumptions as if they don't do anything for them, but how much of the proceeds of the news of those events are going to go to the people that suffered, and And not only that, but I just stated that our people, we tend to just be more focused on jewelry and things like that when we should be more focused on each other. See, what you have to understand about self-centeredness is the Antichrist. If you want to know what the Antichrist is, or one of the attributes of the Antichrist, is self-centeredness, because we are here to serve each other and be servants to each other. That's why when there's a lot of talk about being people pleasers and stuff like that, it kind of like, that's, you're not talking about me, because we are here. If you're a servant to a person, then you're here to please the next person. And if you are pleasing to a person, then there's a spirit in your action. So you're telling people to remove that spirit from out of them, and don't please people. Do not serve people. Do not be a person that pleases the next person, but please yourself. Care about yourself. When it is strictly that you cannot be first without putting yourself last. Whoever wants to be first must put themselves last. So if it's about you, then that means that you're not adhering to, strict commandment. And you to read, not just by seeing things and just saying you know them, but having an open heart to receive it, because that's where the spirit is. When you open your heart and receive it, then you understand the word a little bit more better. Especially like for me, I might not be as good with speaking, but my understanding is a lot more greater. And but I stumbled across Floyd Mayweather was having. And not to talk about another man's achievements or what another man has, and things like that, but to just read about certain things. Floyd, he discussed his watch. He spent $18 million on a watch, and that's his prerogative. If that's what he wants to do with that, then with his money, then by all means you can do that. And Floyd, he's a Christian, then it's that's his prerogative. But when you're a Christian, I don't care who or how long it would take you to understand this. You have to adhere to the teachings of Christ, not the Bible itself. The teachings of Christ. The teachings of Christ will supersede that. You have to understand. You have a blueprint. You have a blueprint to life once you take on this Christendom. Once you take on this adhering to Christ, you have a blueprint to live by. And that's how can you not see how great that is for you to already have a blueprint that's laid out for you, as opposed to going around aimlessly and doing things that's you might not know that is wrong, but because you're just doing it and no one's there to tell you, oh, that's wrong, or that's right, or this is right, or do it this way, you already have a blueprint. So it's like having a blueprint to a building, and you want the way this building is supposed to be designed and structured is supposed to be according to those the blueprints that's already laid out. but you want to take your own blueprints or something that you don't even have a blueprint and make that same building. It's not going to come out the same way. You have the blueprints already written out for you. So the teachings of Christ is already laid out for you, and we do not adhere to that. We do not adhere to it to a T. You have to adhere to it to a T. This is why they had this rap. They had another rapper, and his name is Little Durk, and Little Durk came from the era of Chicago gang banging or drill rap, and you know he witnessed a lot of his people perishing through gang violence and gang wars and stuff like that, and he became a prominent artist in the game. And recently he had converted to Islam, and he took on a name, Mustafa Abdul Malik, which means chosen servant of the king. You know, king being Allah, meaning Allah, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, meaning that he's a servant of Allah. And you know, that's cool. You know, you would want to see people make a transition for the better, and then, you know, use something as a crutch for them to lean on, or something that helps them come out of a certain way or a mindset, you know. And you discuss that. You know, he made a life-changing choice, and that was, you know, to convert to Islam, to be in the Islamic faith. And you would see his transition through his ways and actions, not through the words. But one of the things that he had did recently was come out again, you know, with the same gangster or the same negative music and serving the industry. This is one thing that you can't do. You can't make any kind of associations with God. You can't do that. The worst sin in Islam is to make associations with God, to make any kind of associations. This is why Christ stated that you can't serve two masters. You can't be a servant of God and serve the music industry at the same time. You can't serve your fans what your fans want and serve God. You can't be talking about having was one of his videos, he stated, you know, the same exact thing, you know, the same thing that he's been talking about. He came back out and he discussed it. He kept discussing it. And that's like with, you know, me, for instance. You know, I've been making music, and some of my music been negative. So for me to say, you know what, I'm just standing with God, you know, the righteousness of God, but then you turn around and you put the same music out that's, you know, against the righteousness of God, that's kind of hypocritical, you know. So we're against, you know, being hypocritical, washing the outside of the cup and leaving the inside dirty. You know, we put on these costumes, but inside our hearts haven't been changed. We dress the part, but we don't have the insides of the part. You know, we don't have it mentally. We don't have it in our heart. We have it on the exterior, but not on the interior. So this is what I was trying to get to about, you know, some people can say that they're a Christian or Muslim, but, you know, that's just on the outside look. And 9 times out of 10 is just to be a part of something. And you know, that sometimes that come from just wanting to be part of the assimilation. If the majority of people is doing it, then I'm doing it. Or I find these people over here, you know, acceptive, then I'm going to join them, but not join the spirit of it, of what actually comes along with it. So when when we take a look at, you know, people that are poster childs, and you meaning that they're in the spotlight, and they put themselves in the spotlight to be seen. And when you see, you can judge. You know, same thing with me. You know, I'll put the videos out, you know, and people, they jump to, you know, I judge you. You got gold teeth. You got, you know, and you know, it doesn't bother me. It bothers them. You know, it doesn't bother me. It bothers them. You know, it doesn't offend me. You know, like I told you, I had these since. Tell. Everybody has a past to tell. You know, past you know, present will explain our future. You know, so we don't go and dwell about the past anyway. That's something that we don't do. But as far as people, we should pray that they instructions and be more supportive of each other. You know, if there's a hurricane going on, the whole world should shut down and be supportive, you know, to those people and help them get out of that. So we know the severity of certain things, and sisterly love by, you know, stopping what we doing to aid and assist those in need. And there's a glasses company, you know, that I recently just ordered stuff from. And what I seen is that they are donating glasses to anybody that has been impacted by the hurricane. That's admirable. That was a real cool thing for you to see. You know, that was real cool because they're doing their part as a company. They're donating glasses that they sell. These glasses, they're donating them to anybody that's been impacted by the hurricane. You might have lost your glasses during the hurricane. You might have, you know, even anything, you know, or I just needed a pair of glasses. I never could get them, but right now, you know, now's the time. If you need a pair of glasses, you know, we got you. Same thing with Burger King, McDonald's, with all these companies for XYZ amount of days. Food is on us. For these grocery stores, you've been impacted by the hurricane, groceries on us. These hotels, you've been impacted by the hurricane, rooms on us. This is how it should be in a world where there's people with sense and intelligence, and that have the ability to respond. You know, they have the response ability. They have the ability to respond to situations. And you know, this is you know what it's all about, as far as bringing forth a better world, or living in a better world, you know, where it's not always, you know, business as usual, or you going through something, we going through something. This is what's included in bearing the burden of others. You going through something, I'm going through something too, you know. And that relates to the Puffy situation. You don't pray for the people in the hurricane, you assist them. You pray for Puffy. You pray for Puffy that he changes, that he gets delivered from whatever it is that he has went through. But for the people in the hurricane, the prayer is not what it is that you want to do for them. You want to actually get out and do something that you can show that I'm supportive. I'm going through the same thing, bruh. I'm in the same situation with you. You know, that's what you want to do for them. You know, like me, I don't pray. I fall on my face. I fall on my face, and when I fall on my face, when I come out of there, there's a whole different feel. You know, I don't pray. I don't pray. I'm not saying for you to pray. If you don't have that ability to fall on your face and then converse with God, then I suggest that you do pray. But I don't pray. I don't. And that's just, how it is. That's just, you're not trying to be or someone that says things in vain, like, I pray for people, or I pray. I do not pray. I keep my heart open, and I receive insight from God, and I put my intentions out, and God knows my intentions, and if your intentions is good, your intentions is good. If your intentions is bad, God knows your intentions is bad, same way God knows your intentions is good. So you keep your intentions good, and when you know your intentions is bad, you can't deceive God in any kind of way. You can't deceive. God is not one that you can deceive. You can't deceive something. Because you know it. But I don't pray. I fall on my face, and when I fall on my face, the results are so timely and so unexplainable that I fall on my face less, because it's terrifying. It's terrifying. It would terrify you the way that these things. It's you can attribute it to is God, because it's righteous instruction that you would get from doing certain things. If it's wicked instructions, that ain't God. That is not God. That's not God. If it's righteous instructions, then it's God. The same way God promised to protect the Israelites. If they was to follow him, he would protect them from disasters. If you would follow me, then I would keep you safe from harm. But that's what we have to, be mindful of, especially when we're in speaking, for the righteousness of God. There's many people or many things that you can attribute for the righteousness of God, then it's but you would want to get the people that's responsible for creating to make laws pertaining to the areas that are prone to earthquakes, hurricanes, and things like that, so that they have a safety net, that when it's time, they're required to mandatory evacuate areas, then they have things set up for them, buses already set up, that they know how many people they're taking, they know the areas where they're going, and everything is already structured for their evacuation. See, I'm on the outside looking in, so I'm not sure if they already have that, but this is something that you can incorporate in those situations. Stop everything, and make sure that people make a smooth or a safe trip to their destination. And after that, we just watch the aftermath of the storm. And they have a certain tax credit for them out there, where their stuff is restored, repaired, and it's not like a loss. It's just, me living in this certain region that's prone to hurricanes, or prone to, flooding, or prone to, tornadoes, or strong gusts of wind. These are natural disasters. So when it's a natural thing, it is associated with what you would call the will of God, because this is something that's going to happen. You don't pray against something that is going to happen. You're praying against the will of God. The will of God is to be prepared, during these events. That is my will. Not for you to perish, but for you to prosper. That is part of the will of God. So God don't want none of your stuff to be destroyed or for you to lose anything. God wants you to prosper. So if we don't take heed to righteous instruction and we don't make haste and move when God says move, then we suffer for, lack of obedience, to the word of God. And it's like I said, it's a righteous instruction. Leave, get out of here. I've seen a video where a female said she can't leave because she's paid her rent. She has to stay and endure that because she just paid her rent. Now she don't have no money. She just paid her rent. She don't have no money to go anywhere. So, to be considerate about is being to be the answered prayer for others, have the ability to do it within us. And that's part of us bearing the burden of others, is being their prayer, their answer. People that does good works, but we don't really get the it's not it's not get recognition for it, because this is something that should just come natural to you. So that about these events, because there's people this prayer, but also offer them comfort. You offer them comfort by donating certain things, items, toiletries, soaps, lotions, clothing items, you donate certain things to them that would comfort them in their time of hardship. The prayer, the worst part is pretty much over with. I think they got hit with 2 hurricanes back to back, and the worst part is over with. So we never pray about the past nor the aftermath. We pray that they have daily bread, and meaning that they have something to eat daily, clothed daily, and will to be done. And if God's will is for us to be supportive and assistive to each other, position to do, should do. Can't at least extend or in the position. You don't pray for them, you pray that other people's hearts that are made of stone are made of flesh and have feelings for, flesh, because people have a heart that's etched in stone, meism, self-centeredness. It's all about, long as I'm good, that's all I'm worried about. And you cannot be a disciple of Christ if you do not deny yourself. So we have to get into the habit of denying ourselves. We have to get into the habit of denying ourselves. And basically trying to convey and to share that, a lot of people are attention to the news and things like on it. Only, like I said, for me, The only time I know anything that's going on is, you know, through the people. And what I do see people doing is, you know, still carrying on with, you know, everyday to day life as if, you know, nothing happened. You know, they feel so distant, and you know that need to change because there's so many ways to escape having to face, you know, other people are confronted with. It's so many escapes. So I'm gonna just go to the game today. I'm just gonna go watch the game. You know, the people that are in the position to change things, they are always they always are watching the game, floor seats at the game, enjoying life while, you know, the people that should be aided are suffering, you know. And y'all know what I'm talking about because y'all see them. They sit at floor seats at the game, you know. Big trillionaires or whatever you want to call them, billionaires, sit floor seats at the game, laughing and joking while, you know, other people are crying and suffering, you know. And it doesn't stop. The suffering doesn't stop, especially in this world. It doesn't stop. So we can't. There's never any rest. So until we understand that if any kind of answered prayers is going to come through the people, you know, set up, you know, like FEMA and stuff like that, that's, you know, assistive. But when the people start to take action in things that they can act upon, then that's when you'll see true change and you'll see the hand of God move in this world. But until then, until there's people, as long as there's still people that's, they should be assuming the role of the in the forefront and moving out, and they're still not, because, you know, we have these mega churches. You know, these mega churches, you should see them on the front line of everything pertaining to, you know, bearing burdens. Everything, you know, from a TD Jakes, you should been seen, you know, he's going to the store buying 150,000 rolls of paper napkins and paper tissues and toiletries and stuff like that. And, you know, until we get to people like, you know, Puffy, and till you get the people like Joel Osteen, till you get the people like these super rich people like Oprah and people on the front line to do certain things for the people that are experiencing this hardship. The same thing with you know, Floyd Mayweather. I spent bragged, he got an $18 million, you know, watch, you know, $18 million. And with that $18 million, you know, so we want we want to pray for the hearts of mankind to be changed and be a little bit more where they self-centeredness, because self-centeredness is it is an attribute of the Antichrist. If you want to know the Antichrist, is self-centeredness is, you know, that, you know, encourage you to be self-centered, to think me. That's what that spirit would do. Just putting that out there because